So a YouTuber with a handle of Elliot's Vlog challenged me to define what free will is. And before I did that, I thought I would just make a little video here talking a bit about definition. Talking about what a definition is, what kind of a thing a definition is, and what kind of a definition should we expect for something as fundamental as what free will is. So let's compare us with the benchmarks here, okay? Who's really done the best job of defining their fundamental entities? Hands down physics, right? Physics is kind of the paradigm of the exact sciences for this kind of thing. So let's see how these guys do it if they're so smart. I'm going to use as a case study of definition here the definition of density. Density is defined as kilograms per cubic meter, and this really gives us our first kind of definition that we're going to run across. Basically, what all this does is it just makes a new name for something. So, we don't have to say kilograms per cubic meter over and over again. We can just use a shorter name for it, density. Basically, meaning is use is a good slogan here. This is how we use the word density. We use it to mean kilograms per cubic meter. Basically, a dictionary entry. So that's the first kind of definition we're going to talk about. But those of you who have 2-year-olds know what's going to happen next, right? Oh, okay, if density is kilograms per cubic meter, well, what the heck are these kilogram things, and what the heck is this meter thing, right? So let's unwind this definition and see how these guys are defined, right? So the definition of a meter gives us our second kind of definition. 1 meter is defined as the distance light travels in some unbelievably short fraction of a second. And more to it. Basically, this is our second kind of definition. This definition is kind of like a recipe. Any two scientists anywhere in the world, if they're in possession of this definition of the meter, can go back to their laboratories, or you can do this in your kitchen if you have the right equipment. We can write down a set of instructions as to how to make one of these meter thingies. By making clocks and all this kind of stuff that are accurate enough to measure this kind of stuff. And that's our second kind of definition. Basically what it is, it's a recipe that you follow. And if you follow the recipe correctly, at the end, you'll have your very own meter. Okay, so what's a kilogram? Okay, we need a new kind of definition for this one. This is kind of like the hairy Uncle Tom of the physics world. So let's dig into this one now. The definition of a kilogram has not changed since 1889. And this is a direct quote from the treaty which defines it. The kilogram is the unit of mass. It is equal to the mass of the international prototype of the kilogram. The international prototype of the kilogram, I've got a picture of it here. Inside of this series of nested bell jars is a bar of platinum iridium, very hard metal, very corrosion resistant metal. And it's a physical object, it's an artifact, and that thing there is how kilograms are defined. So let's break this down and see how this works. This is what's known as an ostensive definition. Okay, so this is our third kind of definition. This is the last kind of definition we're going to talk about. An ostensive definition. Ostension is just a fancy name for pointing at. Okay, so what happened in 1889 is the representatives from all the industrial nations came together and they pointed at a particular bar of platinum iridium and said that bar is the international prototype of the kilogram. Yeah, you Kripke fans, this is a naming ceremony. So then they pointed at this bar and said, okay, that bar is, however much, whatever the mass of that bar is 1 kilogram. And that's how it works. Okay? Now, the kicker with ostensive definitions is ostensive definitions are inherently ambiguous. There is an ineliminable amount of ambiguity inherent in the process of ostensive definition. What exactly are you pointing at when they did this? When they pointed at this bar, were they pointing at the bar plus the traces of machine oil that were lingering on the bar? What about the condensed moisture on the surface? If there's any dust on it, are we talking about the mass after dusting it off, after a good bath, or what kind of bath? It's like if we wash it too hard, we scrub it too hard, we'll obviously change it. This is the kind of problems that are inherent in ostensive definitions. Okay, so let's dig into this. Over the years, over the last century, they've evolved a very elaborate series of cleansing and washing things. This is a picture of the document that's there. And if you read through this document, it reminds you nothing of greater than the book of Leviticus, where it describes the cleansing of the temple. Right here, you have a picture of the guy is cleansing the standard prototype kilogram. What you do is you soak chamois leather in a ether bath for 48 hours. Then you gently scrub it off. Blah blah blah. You know, specified how to scrub it, how many times you should scrub it, how long you should wait for it to dry off, and then you do all kinds of other stuffs. As shown here, getting a steam cleaning bath and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, the rituals to do this are very much like the rituals that were in the cleansing of the temple or something like this. I'm going to push this metaphor a little bit. Remember, this international kilogram is stored in France. When the Nazis invaded France, they did not destroy this kilogram. They respected it, right? Think about all the horrible things that the Nazis did in France, and destroying this is not one of them. This is quite a bit like the ancients when they would conquer a territory. They wouldn't destroy the temples that were there because of respect for the gods. So this prototype kilogram very much is, I'm sure future anthropologists are going to describe this as some sort of a cultic object that we have. Okay, here's some more problems with the deriving from the extensive nature of this definition. The yellow line that you see here is the international prototype kilogram. The other lines on here are prototype kilograms, duplicates of it, which were distributed to the various nations. Every 40 years or so, these duplicates are sent back to France for recalibration. As you can see, since 1889, they've all been gaining weight. Either that or the international standard kilogram has been losing weight. But of course, it can't do that by definition. It's exactly equal to 1 kilogram of mass. So the difference here, if you compare the heaviest one with the lightest one, it's about equivalent to the weight of 2 grains of salt, to give you some things, some sort of intuitive grasp as to what the weight difference is here. So it's got problems, and they're looking at various ways of replacing it. Okay, so just to sum up, what the hell are we to expect from these kind of very fundamental definitions, anyways? Okay. Meaning is use is a good slogan. Fundamental definitions are ultimately grounded in social practices. The definition of this standard kilogram, okay, there's a social practice that goes here. There are people who are responsible for maintaining it, the vault that is put in, the cleaning rituals, the how it's weighed and all this kind of stuff. And also social practices inherent even in war. You invade the country, you do not disturb the sanctity of this thing. It's very fundamental. It's really grounded in social practices. Fundamental definitions are public, intersubjective. The whole point of having this standard kilogram there is so we can resolve disputes. If 2 people disagree on whether or not something is a kilogram or not, that's exactly what the international prototype of the kilogram is supposed to be able to do. It elicits broad agreement. Okay. Now, we are not to expect these fundamental definitions to be perfect. Not at all. Okay. Nor are they final. We can change them at any time. They only have to be as good as they need to be to solve our practical needs. Okay. Pragmatism once again. All right. And once more, they're held in place and supported by the social practices as much as they hold in place and support the social practices in return. So, at any rate, just to set the expectations as to what we should expect from fundamental definitions, what kind of thing a definition is, and if I can define free will with anywhere near this kind of precision, I'll be very happy. Okay, on to the next.